Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. Still haven't removed my seat so I can get my microphone sorted out. I'm being lazy. There's different kind of, education is a relative word. Like, you can go to school to get education, and they'll do they'll do what they can do based on what their job title is and how enthused or whatever, how capable and how conducive the class environment is to learning. It's not all about the teachers, also about the other students that are in the class. It's about the funding. It's about a lot of different factors. So school teaches you something. Your parents teach you something. Life experience all around teaches you things. Pain teaches you something. TV teaches you something. Music teaches you something. But can you use it? Can you use it? So education. You're being educated at all times. Really, you're gathering information at all times. I think education is more like if you see a cause and effect and you understand a relationship between things. That's wisdom. According to, one of my son's vocabulary words is the word wisdom. And wisdom, one of the definitions was basically observing relationships between things. So if you can see cause and effect and identify a process, that's wisdom. So I'm satisfied with that definition. I'm satisfied with that. I was doing a little weird kind of research, if you could call it that, over this morning and another day, where I was thinking about electromagnetic fields. Every time current runs through a conduit, it's like any time current flows through a wire, it creates a magnetic field, and that's called the Hall effect. So what happens is you can use the Hall effect to create transformers, which is two wires that are not even touching, being spun around each other and transmitting energy from one wire to the other wire. So we have step up and step down transformers that change the voltage, and it maintains the current, but it changes the voltage. And there's a small amount of energy loss, but it's insignificant in most calculations on the scale that we're using it. So sometimes your doorbell is only 12 volts or 24 volts, and the power in your house is 120 volts. So you use a step-down transformer, which is a bunch of wires wrapped around an empty coil, and another coil wrapped around it. One is the circuit that has the power, and one is the circuit where the power is going to be output. The current is equal, just about, from my understanding, but the voltage is changed. The voltage is stepped down. So you step down from 120 volts AC to 24 volts AC, or 24 volts or 12 volts AC. Your heating system in your house usually works on 24 volts. So you have a step-down transformer operating your boiler. Anyhow, step-down a transformer. So basically, transformer is uses the Hall effect phenomena to transmit electricity from one circuit to the next without the wires even without using conductivity. It's basically moving through the air somewhat. It is very close to each other, so it's not moving like far away. They're very tightly wound together. But that's like magic. Anyhow, the next thing I was looking at Okay, so that's something that I knew for a little while. But now look at it like this. We have people are concerned about 5G and stuff like that. The sun emits some magnetic fields. The earth has a magnetic field, spinning through the poles and all of that. A magnet has a magnetic field, but that's not an electromagnetic field. I don't know what the difference between that is, but anyhow, a magnet can attract something through the air. You can try to push two magnets together, and there's a force there. We can make magnets. There's natural magnets, and we can create magnets also. And I spoke about magnets a little bit when I was talking about magnets being used for hair loss. Magnets were being used to fight hair loss many, many, many decades ago. I don't think anybody does it now. Some people use it for pain relief now. I think Brett Favre was selling magnetic, they have these magnetic bracelets too that you can wear. It's supposed to do stuff for you. We have iron in our bodies also, so that's pretty important. Iron is very important to your blood. Iron is conductive. Our bodies are pretty conductive because they're kind of salty. They got salts all over it. Salt and water. Like a lead acid battery is really a salt. It's a salty solution, like you could call it a salty solution. Let's see, nickel cadmium, lead acid. What is in a lead acid battery? I don't know. But what I was thinking about, I also had a post where I was talking about Magneto's helmet and how Magneto uses his helmet to prevent his brain from being attacked by psychic mutants. Magneto himself has a little bit of psychic powers. Charles Xavier has a lot of psychic powers. Charles Xavier also has a machine called Cerebro in X-Men. Now I'm talking about fantasy, but it's kind of connected. Charles Xavier has a helmet called has a tool he uses that amplifies his psychic abilities. So he uses a machine to magnify and amplify his psychic abilities. How is he doing that? Anyhow, that's not real science, but whatever. We can transmit signals literally on the earth. Now I was looking at what an antenna is. I was looking at how radio waves work. I already spoke many times about how a microwave works. Microwave uses electromagnetic fields at the resonance of water to excite the water, to excite the water molecules and make them get hot, and that's how it heats up your food. And the reason why they tell you don't put foil paper inside of it, because the foil paper kind of blocks the magnetic fields and bounces them back. And but you can, from what I'm reading, still use foil paper in a microwave, but it has to be totally flat and smooth. If it's bumpy, then it'll bounce the rays, the magnetic fields back all around, and then it'll cause, I don't know what exactly happens. I'm gonna look up some videos on what happens when you put crushed up foil inside of a microwave. I'm gonna look it up. But hey, there's the next thing. There's crystals. They use crystals in electronic circuits to create frequencies. They also use crystals to filter frequencies. You can use an inductor to filter low, to create a low pass filter in an electrical circuit. Crystals also can be used as a form of inductance, to resist the change in current. So it theoretically blocking certain frequencies. So I told you about wires that are being used for inductance. I told you about crystals that are being used for inductance. So why do I talk about education? Now, I you know, in New York, you meet a lot of different people. You might think they're strange, and they are to you, because they are to me, because I wasn't educated and I don't understand. But now I'm understanding a little bit more. You see some people, sometimes they wear crystals and they wrap the crystals in copper wire. And now I'm kind of understanding where they're getting their inspiration from, where they're getting their ideas from to wrap the crystal in copper wire. They wrap the, this is me thinking about it. I haven't had a conversation with a person that I see do it. But wrapping the wire around allows it to accept and absorb and catch magnetic fields. And then the crystal resists that same magnetic field, depending upon whatever the resonance of that crystal is. Now, in theory, that person, they're wearing it because they think that it provides them some power, they provide some protection. It's whatever they think it does, because there's also the placebo effect. But the science behind it, I think somebody knows the science behind it, but I don't. I think there may be some I think there's a potential path to having some practical use of this jewelry, what they're wearing as jewelry. Based on the electrical theory, it should work, but maybe the way they're doing it isn't right. Maybe they have to wrap the crystal, I don't know, in 1,000 spins of copper. Maybe they have to do 10 spins of copper. Maybe they have to use 22 gauge copper. Maybe they have to use 6 gauge copper. I don't know. Silver is also energy, is a good conductor of electricity. I have a silver chain on that I've been wearing since I've been in school. I don't know if it's done anything for me. But anyway, gold is also a decent conductor also, and it doesn't corrode. But silver is probably the best conductor. But gold is a good conductor. They put in a lot of electronics. But the what do I want to say? What do I want to say? I want to say a lot. I want to say that there's some foundation to what they're doing. They have a different education than we've been provided, than we've attained or sought out. I have a little bit of understanding of some electrical theory, but I don't have a lot. I don't know how crystals works. I don't know how quartz crystals work, really. I know that quartz crystals, you can physically deform them